My name is Kateryna. I'm 32 years old, and before the war, I lived in a small but beautiful city in Ukraine called Chernihiv. Life there is not easy, but it has a rhythm. Every morning, I walk past the old cathedral to get to my job at a little bakery. I love the smell of fresh bread. I love watching the first customers of the day shuffle in, sleepy-eyed, holding a few coins in their hands. I live with my mother in a modest 2-room apartment. She's been sick for a few years now, and I'm her only caregiver. We live simply: bread, potatoes, cabbage, sometimes chicken if we're lucky. I never think of leaving Ukraine. My friends talk about working abroad, but I tell them, my home is here, my mother is here, my life is here. That's how I feel, until the night everything changes. It's February. The news on the radio is tense. There are rumors of an invasion. People whisper about it in line at the market. I don't believe it at first. But then, it happens. Air raid sirens scream in the middle of the night. The sound is so loud it feels like it's inside my bones. The ground shakes, windows rattle. I run to my mother's room. She's already crying, clutching the photo of my father. Days blur together in chaos. Bombs, power outages, empty shelves in stores. The bakery closes. I stay home, listening for every sound, every plane, every explosion. Our neighbor's apartment is hit. After that, I know we have to leave. My mother is too weak to travel far, but I can't stay here and wait for death. The hardest decision of my life is leaving her behind in the care of my aunt. She tells me, "Go, Katya, live." I kiss her hands and promise to call her every day. I carry only a small bag, some clothes, my passport, and a few photos. I travel west by bus, then cross into Poland. Refugee centers are overcrowded, filled with tired, scared faces. Aid workers give us blankets, bread, and hot tea. I spend a month there, moving from shelter to shelter. People talk about going to Germany, Canada, America. I hear about the Philippines from a volunteer. She says, "It's far, but peaceful. They are friendly to Ukrainians right now." The Philippines? I barely know where it is, but when you have no home, no job, and no safe place, you start considering anything. A church group offers to sponsor my flight. They say they have a community in Davao where I can stay, where God's children live in harmony. It sounds like salvation. When I arrive in Davao, it's warm, humid, and strange. Palm trees instead of snow. The air smells like the sea. A group of people from the church greet me at the airport, smiling warmly. They take me to a large compound surrounded by tall fences. At first, I think it's for safety. Later, I understand it's for control. Life there is strict. Every day starts with prayers at 5 a.m. We work in the fields, cook, clean. Phones are taken away for focus. The leader, a man in his 60s, calls himself Tatay, meaning father. He preaches about purity, sacrifice, and loyalty. He says God brought me here to serve the mission. At first, I believe he's a holy man, but soon I see his other face. Women are called to his private quarters late at night. Some return silent, others crying. If someone refuses, they are shamed in front of the group. My turn comes one evening. He tells me God has chosen me for special service. His words are gentle, but his eyes are cold. I freeze. I think of my mother. I think of the war. I think of how far I am from anyone who can help me. I want to scream, but I know that will only make things worse. That night, I pray harder than I've ever prayed in my life. Days turn into weeks. I pretend to obey, but inside I'm planning my escape. I befriend a younger woman named Liza, who whispers to me that she knows a guard who can be bribed. We save scraps of food and coins we find while cleaning. The guard agrees to leave the back gate unlocked for a few minutes at midnight. When the night comes, my heart is pounding so hard I can barely hear. We slip out quietly, barefoot, carrying nothing but fear. We run down a dirt road until my legs feel like they will break. In the distance, I see the lights of the city. We make it to a police station. At first, they don't believe us. But after hours of questions, an officer finally says, "You're safe now." I'm sent to a shelter for women. It's small and crowded, but no one is trying to control me. I can breathe again. From there, I find work washing dishes at a small restaurant. It's tiring, but the pay is enough to rent a tiny room. My first night alone, I sit on the floor, holding my bag, and cry. Not because I'm sad, but because I'm free. The first week at the restaurant felt like I had stepped into another life entirely. I traded the stifling air of the religious compound for the clatter of plates, the hum of conversations, and the constant rhythmic sound of the kitchen door swinging open and shut. That's when I first noticed him. He wasn't the type to demand attention. In fact, that was the problem. He seemed determined to avoid it. Tall, with an easy smile that appeared only in quick flashes, he worked behind the bar like a man who had learned to keep his distance from the world. At first, I thought he didn't like me. He spoke to everyone else easily, but with me, his words were clipped, careful. Our conversations were brief, just orders and instructions, nothing more. But then there were those moments. I'd catch him looking when he thought I wasn't paying attention. A slow glance, quickly averted, the kind of look that lingered just a second too long to be accidental. One afternoon, while I was taking drinks to a table, he brushed past me in the narrow aisle. The touch was accidental, or at least it was supposed to be, but there was something in the way his hand grazed mine that made my pulse trip. He was careful, though. Too careful. There were times I'd try to start a casual conversation, maybe tease him about how serious he always looked when polishing glasses. He'd smirk, maybe give me a short reply, and then change the subject entirely. It was almost like he was afraid of something. Then one evening, while we were closing, I found myself alone with him in the dimly lit restaurant. The sound of rain outside muffled everything else. I joked about how I still couldn't pronounce half the dishes on the menu without stumbling over the words. He laughed, really laughed this time, and for a moment, the wall between us cracked. But just as quickly, he stepped back. His voice softened, almost guarded. "You're doing fine," he said. "Better than you think." I wanted to ask him why he kept pulling away, but I didn't. There was a sadness in his eyes, something that told me his heart was still tangled up somewhere else. Still. Every time our hands brushed when exchanging a plate, every fleeting glance we shared, every smile that seemed like it was not meant to happen, those moments told me something unspoken was there. I didn't know if I was ready to chase it. I didn't know if he was ready to let it happen. But I knew this. Whatever it was between us, it was growing. Slowly. Sweetly. Like a fire that hadn't yet decided whether it wanted to burn. It began with small, harmless things. Late-night texts about the shift, then about our favorite songs, then about dreams we were too shy to admit in person. He'd sometimes send a joke in the middle of the day, and I'd laugh so loudly in my little rented room that my neighbors probably thought I was crazy. We met outside work a few times, in quiet places where no one knew us. Coffee by the harbor, a walk under the dim orange glow of streetlights. Those moments felt like stolen sunlight. And yet, in every smile I could sense a shadow, as if a part of him was somewhere else, with someone else. I didn't press. I was too afraid the truth would end it. One rainy afternoon, everything changed. A new customer walked in, her presence lighting up the dim restaurant like a sudden spark. She was beautiful in that effortless, magnetic way, the kind that draws every eye without trying. I went to take her order, but before I could speak, Miguel appeared beside me. The air between them shifted instantly. His voice cracked when he said her name. She smiled at him. a smile of someone who has history, who has been missed. And in that moment, I knew this was her. The one who lived in the shadow of his every glance, the one he thought was gone, the one he loved before me. He had once told me in a text that sometimes the past feels like a ghost, always there, even if you pretend it isn't. Now, that ghost was flesh and blood, standing before us. My heart tightened, but I managed a polite smile. I took her order, my hands steady, even though my chest felt like it was splintering. I didn't need him to explain. I already understood. We could keep pretending for a while, maybe even keep our secret meetings. But in the end, we both knew. She was back. And no matter how much he cared for me, she was his true love. And the cruelest part? I couldn't even hate her.